Hi, today I was loading some pistol ammo and thought I might as well record the process I use. While I hope it will be useful to some and it might spark some debate, it's certainly not meant to be an instructional video. Some of the steps I use might be seen as unnecessary, and that's fine. We all need to decide what works for us and our guns. My use case is producing match quality ammo to use in UK gallery rifle competition. This requires a fair degree of accuracy, but more importantly requires ammo which feeds and ejects with absolute reliability and never produces flyers off into the 8 or 9 ring. So jumping in, step 1 is just decapping the ammo. I decap before cleaning to ensure that the primer pocket is also cleaned during that process. Depriming on the progressive press using a spare tool head with a decapping die certainly speeds up this process. After decapping, I ultrasonically clean the brass. Many wouldn't bother cleaning pistol ammo at all or simply give it a tumble. However, with the grease used in our bullets and the cases being ejected onto the ground that is often wet and muddy, I like to use the ultrasonic as it not only cleans the case well, it also cleans the extractor groove perfectly. I then dry the cases for a couple of hours in an oven set to about 70 degrees Celsius. It just saves waiting about. The brass is then given a quick tumble. It removes the watermarks from the wet cleaning and makes them lovely and shiny. I now anneal the brass. I can hear the comments already that this is a waste of time for pistol brass. However, with the very soft target loads we use, the brass can last a long time. I can easily get 50 reloads from them. During this time the brass hardens considerably and changes both the case and crimp tension you can get from it. Having seen a marked change in the point of impact between new and heavily used brass, I choose to anneal every reload. It doesn't take long and ensures I have consistent bullet release every round. Annealing pretty much eliminates splitting of the case neck too. Every reload I clean and uniform the primer pockets. Although I'm using very light loads, the brass in the primer pocket still does migrate back over time. In any case, it's just as easy to uniform them as it is to take a primer pocket cleaner through them, so why not? The next step is to prime the case. I choose to prime off the press as I feel it produces much better consistency and primer depth and hence ignition. So, another controversial step, trimming the brass. Now I don't do this every time, but with the long case life I do see growth through the many firings and resizings. So I trim every 5 reloads or so, and this ensures consistent bullet seating depth and crimp strength. After trimming, of course you want to debore the inside of the case. Our soft lead bullets are easily shaved on entry and on exit if you do not. Likewise, after trimming I debore the outside of the case. A sharp edge without a hard crimp can catch on the chamber mouth while loading around. I've only started brushing the cases recently after reading some really interesting information produced by the new AMP reloading press, which measures loading pressure very accurately. For some reason, which no one can really explain right now, loading pressure and hence consistency in overall length is significantly improved after brushing. Well, I need some bullets to put in the cases, I guess, and I choose to pour my own as I've a ready supply of pure lead. I mix this with about 5% of tin to lower the surface tension and fill out the mould nicely. I'm aiming for about 10 on the Brinell hardness scale, which works well for the pressures I'm using. The bullets obturate well in the bore and leave no leading. With all cast bullets, there is always a risk of air pockets, voids in the bullets. This can dramatically destabilise them in flight and lead to flyers. So I weigh each and every one. I select those plus or minus half a grain for competition use and plus or minus 1 grain for practice and remelt the rest. The bullets then need to be sized and lubed. My bore slugs out to 0.452 of an inch, so I size my bullets to 0.454 inch. You want to be a couple thou over in order to ensure a good seal and avoid gas cutting on firing. Here I'm using Lyman Ideal Lube, which works well, but it's horrible sticky stuff. As such, I'm experimenting with some white label lubes that are much less messy. We've actually made it to loading the stuff. The progressive I'm using has 5 stages. First stage is the full length sizer die. I used to use this die but only sized the portion of the brass that holds the bullet. While this was great for accuracy, there was the occasional issue feeding and extracting with old brass that had expanded. Now they're fully sized every time. Second stage holds an expanding mandrel. I bought one which was oversized and machined it to provide the case mouth flare and bullet tension I'm after. Third stage is powder drop. Today I'm using Vitavuri N32C, sometimes called Tin Star. This is a very bulky powder that dramatically reduces any airspace in the case and gives me very low extreme velocity spreads and single digit velocity standard deviation. In the fourth stage I have a bullet seater. I choose to seat separately from crimping as it allows better consistency than performing them in one step and allows individual tweaking of both. Fifth and last stage is the roll crimp. I tend to give quite a heavy crimp as I find it improves velocity consistency. With the annealing I don't see any increase in split necks either. So here we are with the final loaded round, made as well as I can. I hope this video has been somewhat interesting and might even spark some debate, some conversation around what is worthwhile and what is not in pistol loading. Thank you very much for watching.